Welcome to the League of Melanated Gentlemen podcast. I'm Spencer, and I'm one of your hosts on this podcast. That we do. And it should come as no surprise that today I'm joined by the other two members of the League of Melanated Gentlemen who have come here to give you a long-awaited review.
Oh yeah, this is Brandon.
And I am Jordan.
Now, of course, before we get into reviewing anything, we have to review where you can find us, where you can talk to us, where you can get at us, where you can hit us up, as the young folks used to say. Uh, I don't know if they say that anymore.
Hit
Been
my
a minute
line.
since I've seen an HMU,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
Jordan is going to tell you all about the hit 'em up spots, the hit us up spots.
Hit them up. Of course, we are on social media. We are all at the League of Melanated Gentlemen podcast, and that is on Facebook, that is on Instagram, that is on YouTube, and that is on X, slash Twitter. And yeah, that's where you can find us at. Stop on by, give us a good follow. Our numbers actually on our Facebook group have been going up. So if you would like to be a part of the conversation, slide on over there. And then also, of course, we always love more followers on Instagram. So yeah, be sure and drop us a follow there. And then be sure and rate and review us on any of the podcast streaming services that you use. And yeah, that's that. But then of course we have to talk about more housekeeping. We've got scheduling. Uh of course, I'm sure you tapped in on Monday. I'm sure you are a day one listener. As soon as you see a drop at 10 o'clock, you are right there downloading us. But if not, just know the main podcast drops on Monday. This Tuesday, we have LMG presents Marvel Multiverse RPG. We are in the final episode of our first adventure here in Murder World, so be sure and catch that grand finale. Promise you, you will love it. And then on Wednesday, we have Wrestling with Worldwide Willis. That is Brandon's review podcast. Brandon, what's going on in the world of wrestling right now?
And Gunther just won King of the Ring. Nia Jax just won Queen of the Ring, and yeah, now we're on to Clash at the Castle in London. Some big things coming.
Nice, nice. And then of course this Friday we have DC animation with Spenser and Friends. That is denser. That is DC DC's.
You
Oh my
always
God.
fuck it up
I know.
when you get to mine.
That is Spencer's DC review podcast where he's going through the all the animated movies that have came out from DC. Spencer, what movie are we on?
It is time to review The Death of Superman.
Ooh,
Mm.
classic storyline. Classic storyline. Be sure and check out the movie, and then you can check out the podcast. Or if you've seen the movie, just be sure and check out the podcast as soon as that one drops. And that is everything we have for this week.
Alrighty. Well, we got a review for you. Before we get to reviewing anything, we must first issue the spoiler warning, which our lovely AI is going to go ahead and handle for us right now.
Excuse me, gentlemen, but there is a strange phenomenon happening. I think it's a spoiler. Proceed with caution.
All right, you have been warned sufficiently. So, today we will be reviewing Invincible Season 2, as I'm sure you knew by the title. I will first say that we took a minute to get this one out because I blame Amazon. They split this. Like, if they had just put it all out at one time, then you would have got it immediately. But, there are too many shows. So, we did get to it because we love it. We thought it was important. We thought you needed it. And, a couple people asked for it. So, we gotta give the people what they need. And what you need is to know what our thoughts are, what our opinions are, how we feel about it, because this is the world we inhabit. And so, I will read a synopsis of each episode in my own words, and then we're going to talk about it. I did my best to keep it tight. We're going to see what happens. So, episode 1, A Lesson for Your Next Life. We open in an alternate world where Invincible and Immortal are throwing hands. Omni-Man steps in and ends things. And in this world, Invincible joins Omni-Man to take over Earth in Viltrum's name. Just before he is about to be killed, Angstrom Levy? Levy.
I think it's
Don't
Levy.
remember.
You just
Levy.
say Levy. Yeah.
We'll go with Levy. Falls into a portal. In the main world, Mark is using his power to help people, but he is, clearly still dealing with the trauma that his father put him through. The Mauler twins are broken out of prison, but a portal opens, opening um, a version of Angstrom Levy because he needs their help combining all the versions of himself into his body so that he can have all of the knowledge to help all of the worlds. Mark and Cecil have a conversation about Mark working as a hero, and after a fight that doesn't go super well, Rudy is fired as the team leader of the Guardians, and Immortal is appointed. Figuring it can't be good, Cecil sends Invincible to stop the Mauler twins from whatever they're doing, and Angstrom summons more Mauler twins to help stop Mark from stopping them because, he needs to go through with his plan to merge all of themselves into himself, but they're about to kill him, so Angstrom doesn't want that, so he stops the machine before it finishes, which causes an explosion. Mark and Amber find out they get into college. Immortal makes it very clear that he does not trust Mark, and a two-faced looking ass Mauler twin survives the explosion, as does a very fucked up Angstrom who swears revenge on Invincible. Episode 2. In about 6 hours, I lose my virginity. We open with Mark's graduation. He almost misses it due to his fight with Doc Seismic, but he does make it. In a meeting about the Mars mission, we see that a Martian is impersonating one of the astronauts. Eve wants to help people, so she fixes up a park. Her dad basically hates her power, and unfortunately, the park she built fell apart because it was built on unstable ground, causing her to feel terrible. Debbie tries to convince Mark that he doesn't have to work for Cecil to prove he isn't Omni-Man, and Rex finds out that Duplicate is dating Immortal. The Martian decides he wants to be a superhero, so he joins the Guardians. Invincible fights the new Darkwing and wins without too much of an issue. And Donald is trying to figure out what happened to him. Since Omni-Man killed Aquarius, the Atlantean tradition dictates that Mark marry their queen. He gets down there and ends up fighting a Rancor, pretty much. It starts rampaging and killing Atlanteans, and Cecil tells Mark not to worry about it, but Mark beats the Rancor and saves the Atlanteans. Debbie is clearly still struggling with the trauma, and the OG leader of the Lizard League shows up at their town hall to reclaim his power. Episode 3. This Missive, This Machination. We open with Debbie dropping Mark off at college. Mark celebrates by making sweet love to Amber. We are then taken to a flashback on Unova. They live in harmony, but everything changed when the Viltrumites attacked. The surviving Unopans were asked to join the coalition of planets against the Viltrum Empire. That's how we get Alan. He reports to the coalition that Mark is on Earth and Omni-Man is not. Shortly thereafter, Viltrum sends an interrogation unit to Alan, and he has nothing to say, and they fuck him up. Thetis turns off Alan's life support, and Rudy asks Monster Girl on a date, and Debbie goes to a grief meeting. Mark is met by a shape-shifting alien bug that claims he needs Mark's help to save his planet. Mark goes with the alien to find none other than Omni-Man as their king. Episode 4. It's been a while. We open in a flashback with the aftermath of Omni-Man's attack on Invincible. Omni-Man finds himself on Thraxa, where he has started a new life. Mark is happy to see his dad because he missed him, but also he's pissed. Mark learns that Omni-Man has a new wife and a new son, which doesn't help Mark's anger. The Viltrumite interrogation unit shows up, and Omni-Man and Invincible were able to come away with the W, but they definitely had to work for that meal. Donald discovers that he died and was brought back somehow, and General Krieg lets Mark know that he is going to continue the Viltrumite conquest of Earth, and Omni-Man will be executed for high treason. The two-faced Mauler twin gets murdered because he was treating number two like number two. Episode 5. This must come as a shock. We open with the aftermath from the Viltrum attack on Thraxa. The Thraxans get Mark to a healthy place while he's helping them rebuild, and then they get him home. Mark returns to Earth with his half-brother, and Debbie agrees to raise him. Donald learns that he was rebuilt in a robot body, and it is discovered that a ship is headed to Earth from Mars, and the shapeshifter is forced to reveal his true identity and explain the situation. Sequids are headed to take over the Earth. While the Guardians' heavy hitters head to Mars to handle the Sequid problem, the Lizard League makes their move to take over a military base and end up fighting Duplicate Rex and Shrinking Ray. With the main squad, the Sequids are too much with, everyone else. Duplicate dies, Shrinking Ray is eaten, and Rex has a gun pointed to the back of his head. Alan wakes up stronger than ever, and Thetis reveals that he is a Viltrumite against the Viltrum Empire, and he wants Alan to go get Mark to join the team. Episode 6, it's not that simple. We open to Rex getting shot in the back of his head. The main squad is able to handle the Sequid problem and save the astronaut. Rex survives the gunshot, and he kills the Lizard King. Shrinking Ray also survives, and they both get treated for their severe injuries. Debbie names the baby Oliver, and even though she doesn't trust Cecil, she lets him bring in a nanny that has experience handling alien babies. Rick is back, but he's struggling with the trauma that he experienced, and Mark and Amber both feel terrible and realize the work Invincible is doing is making their relationship very difficult. Mark also learns about the books that Omni-Man wrote. Turns out these books could be the answer to the Viltrumite problem. Immortal asks for time off after Kate's funeral, and Alan comes to Earth to talk to Mark. They exchange information, with Alan taking that back to Thetis. The astronaut ends up bringing the Sequids home with him, and General Krieg interrogates Omni-Man about the hold that Earth has over him. Also, Angstrom is back. Episode 7, I'm Not Going Anywhere. We open with Mark and Amber at Comic-Con. Mark has to leave to help Rex with a villain, and Rudy tries to get Monster Girl to use a robot instead of transforming, because transforming is de-aging her. Rudy is made leader again while Immortal is on leave, and Donald finds out that he didn't just die once, it's been a number of times, and the original wanted his memories erased. Mark meets with the dean because he is dangerously close to getting kicked out of school, but he says that he is committed to his grades moving forward. Rick is about to kill himself, but Donald is able to talk him down since he is able to relate to what it is that Rick is going through. While on a date, Anissa shows up and makes sure that Mark hasn't forgotten his mission to prepare Earth for Viltrumite rule. During their talk, a sea monster shows up, and Mark goes to fight it for a little while, and then Anissa comes through and kills it immediately. Everyone involved knows for a fact that Anissa is stronger than Mark, including Mark. And Cecil tells Mark to lie, but Mark tells Anissa that Earth is closed today. So she beats his ass. But she lets him live, and she leaves. Mark and Amber break up, and Mark thinks that he's about to talk to his mom on the phone, but it's Angstrom who is holding Debbie and Oliver hostage. Anissa reports back to General Krieg that he could not be convinced, and Alan shows up and pretends to get beaten by Anissa so that she will take him to the Viltrumite ship. Episode 8, I Thought You Were Stronger. We open with Nolan demonstrating that he is in tip-top shape for his execution. Mark gets home and finds that Angstrom is threatening to kill Debbie and Oliver. Angstrom sends Mark to several different worlds to tire him out, and Debbie tries to attack Angstrom, but he snaps her arm and he beats her up a little bit. Mark has had enough of this shit, and Angstrom thinks that Mark is good and tired. So they fight, and because Mark has had enough of this shit, he kills Angstrom. Mark didn't mean to kill him. Mark assumed he was stronger than he was because he kept talking that shit. He said a second ago that he was that strong, and turns out, no. So, killing him leaves Mark stranded on a barren world, and a future version of the Guardians eventually find Mark and send him back to his own home, but not before future Eve confesses her love for Mark. Immortal learns that Kate is alive. Two ladies find Mum Ra, pretty much, who happens to be sexist, and Mark decides to quit college. But why? Like, why would he even go to college? And he also almost tells Eve how he feels, but then decides not to. And then Alan tries to get Nolan to join the coalition, and Nolan admits that he really misses Debbie. And that's the show.
Great work. I feel like I
Yeah.
watched it again.
And I say thank you. Some of those I had a couple rough moments in there, but that's okay. So let's do initial rankings. Jordan, I'll start with you.
Yeah, so just the rankings right now, or we're just talking about just overview.
We'll do like a tight overview, and then
Okay.
what do you rank it right now?
So this season I think was really good. I do think it suffered a little bit because it did split the season in half. I felt as if like the first half was like really dealing with the PTSD of Mark, and I was like, is this what the whole season is going to be about? And so I was like, I was really enjoying it, but I was like still hoping in the back of my mind that we would kind of get back to Invincible that we kind of knew. But overall, I really enjoyed the show. I'm looking forward to all the next seasons that they choose to drop. And I would probably give it an 8 for this season.
Okay, Brandon.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I think it kind of felt, I guess, just because of the distance between first season 1 and season 2, it kind of was like I had to get back in rhythm again with the show a little bit. Like Jordan said, it was a little, I don't want to say slow, but definitely that storyline, not having Omni-Man and his son like together during the season kind of was different. It was a different vibe, but other characters got to grow. We got to learn more about them. So for the most part, I enjoyed it. I don't think it's as good as the first season, but I think it seemed like a transitional season, and then we're going to get a big season 3. But I would probably, yeah, I give it right now. I'm gonna go 7.5.
Okay. Okay. I agree. It was good. Probably not as good as season 1. It did feel like filler in moments,
Mm-hmm.
but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Because while it felt like filler, I feel like we needed most of what we got. Like a
Yeah,
lot of it was important and necessary. But some of it wasn't. I'm gonna give it an 8 out the door.
like it, like it.
So, looking at the first episode, we in so the first thing we see is Immortal fighting Invincible, and Invincible's just like, dude, I've been hit way harder than this.
Yeah,
And Immortal, kind of gets pissed off, and then Omni-Man comes in and just shuts it down immediately.
yeah, that was wild.
Omni-Man does not play around.
Yeah,
Like he gets right to it. And we see that they're like, they just don't give a fuck. Like, it was wild whenever they go down to the subway, they find all the people,
oh
and
yeah,
he like snaps her neck or snaps her spine or something
Hmm.
so that she's paralyzed, and he was like, "Oh, is that what you've been working on?"
Yeah, that was
He-
wild.
And he was
That
like,
was
"Yeah."
wild.
He was like, "Yeah, I still don't want to kill people, but like, I care about Eve."
They were so
And
casual.
yeah, that's what would, because whenever Omni-Man was like, "Hey, I'm hungry. Let's go ahead and wrap this up." I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh my God."
I didn't even know what was happening either. Like, I was like, what is going on right now? Like,
I could tell we were in either a dream or an alternate reality.
I
Like,
thought it was a dream. I didn't even think about alternate reality.
yeah, like I
Yeah.
knew it was one or the other, and I was like, somebody gonna either wake up or we're gonna get into Mark's world. But
Right.
like, I know that this is not just what it is now. So, but yeah, we we see that happen, and again, that was like they know how to like do a first episode.
They do. That's
Like
definitely true.
they know how to set you up.
That's
Because
facts.
yeah, like whenever we open up and yeah, again, Mark and Immortal are fighting, and then Omni-Man just comes through, yeah, and Immortal's just done, and Mark crushes his head, and he's like, "Recover from that, bitch," pretty much. It was like, oh,
Yeah.
all right,
Tag team.
yeah, like yeah, I mean that's how that's gonna go. So Angstrom Levy, we assume that he's going to be really important. Like they made him out to be like, oh, he's going to matter
Right.
Yeah.
in this, and we'll talk about him later.
Way later.
Mm.
Yeah, but he breaks the Mauler twins out. Good to see them again. I
Yeah.
enjoyed them.
I thought they were gonna have more this season too. Like
Yeah,
they
I can
really
see
like
that.
they only had like what one episode, like not even a full episode, but like just a
yeah, I'd
couple
say
scenes.
they were in like 3 episodes, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Spot minutes.
Yeah. So yeah, the Mauler twins get broken out, and they kind of, size Levy up pretty immediately. They're like, we're smart, so we got your shit figured out.
Right.
And that's one of the things that I do like about this. Like, you don't often see people who are that size and brilliant.
Yeah. I like that. I like that as well.
I
So
also really like they always argue over who's
who's
the
the
real.
OG?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that whole dynamic is interesting. And so he basically says, you two are the best at like multiplying and fusing and all that. So I need your help fusing all of the me's into myself.
Hmm.
So y'all are going to help me, or, it's not going to, I mean, really, I can't really do much, but like I did break y'all out of prison. So like, just help me.
Yeah.
Like,
What was his like initial motivation for? I mean, I know he was trying to.
he was,
What?
so what he wanted, or my understanding of what he wanted to do, he wanted to get every single version of him into himself. So all of the versions of him from alternate worlds. He wanted to get one giant world brain of himself so that he could figure out how to save all of the other universes from Invincible. And
Okay.
I'm guessing that our Angstrom Levy is the one that exists in this world where Invincible did not join Omni-Man, but he has visited all of the worlds where Invincible
Yeah.
does join Omni-Man.
Yeah. Okay. I forgot
Because
about the Omni Man factor. Yeah, that makes
yeah,
sense.
because that's on most of the worlds, Omni-Man and Invincible join forces and ruin everything.
Yeah.
And so most of those angstroms got saved by him because they were, they became a part of the Viltrum Empire.
Yeah. I mean, I really did enjoy this character though. Like Sterling K. Brown,
Oh yeah.
I enjoy him as an actor, but as a voice actor, it was fun was seeing him do that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I will say Invincible, like a lot of black people in Invincible.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Which they actually changed from the comic too. So that's pretty good. It's not
Yeah.
a noticeable change.
But I know you hate them adding Negroes.
I don't like Negroes.
Yeah,
Exactly.
but
That's what I'm saying.
yeah, we're gonna clip that.
So, that's happening. He gets the Mauler twins, and the Mauler twins are like, okay, fine, we can help you. That's fine. Just get us a lab coat, and we can make this thing happen. So, yeah, Angstrom takes him to the room full of Angstroms. And again, I know that we just talked about it, but they size him up like down to his powers. Like
Yeah.
they size him up real quick. And I was like, that's good shit.
Yeah.
I like it. And so he needs to combine all of himself into himself. And we see that Mark and Cecil have a conversation, and Mark has been, helping people, doing things. And Cecil's like, I already know about your little things going on. Like you don't think I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
And Mark is like, yeah, you need me. Call me back out there because I am able to help, and you need me. I'm ready. And Cecil's like, no, you're not.
Right.
And that's one thing. I know that Cecil is supposed to be like, shady Nick Fury, just like government. But like, sometimes I'm like, Cecil really does care about you a little bit. And
Yeah.
Cecil is actually kind of trying to do what's best for you, not necessarily. I mean, yes, at the end of the day, he's a government agent and he's doing what's in the best interest of the government, but he knows how to package it.
Yeah.
In a way that's like, I'm doing this for you.
Yeah.
Because
no, Cecil, he be dropping bars sometimes.
Because at the end of the day, Cecil is probably like, so here's the thing. Like, I'm going to package this as your mental health is important. But honestly, you're a liability.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't want him to turn out like his dad. Like he's like, we need you as the ultimate weapon to protect Earth, but we also don't want you to turn into your dad.
Because and he kept saying, like, he kept drawing comparisons. He was like, you know who else said that shit to me?
Yeah.
And I was like, Cecil, you don't want to do that.
That was cruel too, especially after Mark was like really struggling with it.
Yeah.
He was like, yo, you're getting close.
I mean, I want to talk about struggle. Like Mark's mom, like the first half of this season, I felt so bad for Mark's mom, man.
Yeah.
She
it
was
was raw
going
for Debbie.
through it.
She was.
Like, and then, Mark started getting distant from her. Like, it'll come later, but like, yeah, then Mark started doing everything to his girlfriends. Like, yeah, I don't know. I felt really bad for his mom in this first half of the season, the whole season, but like especially the first half because that's when she's dealing with it the most.
Yes.
Yeah, she like you said, she was pretty lonely in the house by herself, dealing with the whole thing. Yeah,
Not working or anything. Like she was trying to get back on her feet. I
right.
remember because in this episode, that girl like comes to her and like, hey, if you need a job, like,
Right.
Well, she didn't say she needs a job because she still
was
got a
it?
job.
Oh,
She
she
was
needs
saying
somebody to talk to, right?
Yeah, if you need like counseling, like we have meetings, you're not alone. Like we can, I got some people for you to talk to. And so, and that was Red Rush's girlfriend, I think. I think his name was Red Rush.
I definitely don't remember.
The Flash. Yeah, their Flash had a girlfriend, and I think that's who that was. It was the Iris of this world. So, Cecil and Mark are talking, and I think Cecil is kind of like, you know what? Okay, but I'll call you back in because you're gonna do this anyway. But like, you gotta follow the rules, kid. We gotta keep it tight. So I'm gonna, give you some little things to do. Little things and things that like no one else can really deal with, honestly.
Right.
And so whenever we also see that the Guardians are, having a fight with some fucking nobodies. And, Rudy's in charge. And now that Rudy is human, like now that he's not just robot, he has like a physical human reaction. He was like, what the fuck is this? Like,
froze up.
I don't like this one bit. And old girl was like, yeah, that's fear. Like,
yeah, it's like you're scared.
It's a part of being human. He was like, oh, that's not gonna work.
Yeah,
I
almost died.
Yeah, he was like, I know, I don't want anything to do with that. So we're gonna have to get rid of that. But he gets fired, and Immortal comes in and is appointed the leader. And I was thinking, like, okay, his name being immortal, okay, cool, but like I've seen him die twice now.
Yeah, that's true. Sure.
Because yeah, in season 1, he died, and then they like sewed his head back on, and he died again. And we learn about that later on.
I'll say, yeah, somebody mentions that. Yeah.
Yeah, we talk about it, and we'll get into that. But Immortal, because he does this. He's been in the game, and he
Mhm.
was the OG leader whenever the Guardians had, a Justice League style squad. But now, it's a Teen Titans situation.
Yeah, it's
And
BD squad.
And then, that's how it's got to be. Omni-Man did put them all down.
That's true. You take down the top guys.
Yeah, so like
In episode 1.
yeah, they're playing with what they got.
Yeah.
But so something is happening, and with the Mauler twins, and Cecil is like, that can't be good. Whatever they're doing, I don't know what they're doing, but it's
Mhm.
not good. So Invincible, go ahead and go see what that's about. So Invincible shows up, and he just starts explaining what he sees. He's like, I don't know what's happening, but it's a bunch of the same man in a bunch of chairs,
Yeah.
and then a central man in a big chair. And Cecil's like, yep, shut it down. I don't know what that is,
Yeah,
and I don't like it.
right.
Shut that down right now.
Yeah.
And so the Mauler twins, are holding him back, and Angstrom sees that like Invincible will absolutely shut this down. Like
Yeah.
two Maulers aren't going to do it. So he summons a bunch of other Mauler twins, and they are beating his ass. He gets his ass beat so many times.
Oh, yeah.
Bruh. Like, yeah, if Angstrom didn't pull the trigger, pull the plug on that thing,
He was done.
man.
You know,
Yeah.
get bad to it. Mark, I do the little bubble up thing. Like, Mark, I stay bubble.
Mark, I stay swollen.
Bro, he
Mark's,
need to carry a cut man with him like the UFC.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
Mark's eye is always swollen.
Bruh, the episode where him and his mom was on the roof, they both had the bubble. I'm like, come
Both
on,
had
man.
a big, yeah, I was like, eye always swollen. I will say, no ass beating that Mark got is as bad as what the lion did to him in
Oh,
season
Yeah,
one.
that's true.
That was, I was worried.
Yeah.
I was like, are we gonna have to change the name of this show? Because
Yeah, bro.
the Battle Beast is about to kill him.
Yeah.
Hey, old
Yeah,
girl
that
almost
was-
killed him too, though. On, like,
She did beat it.
was that
He
episode
gets
7 or so. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
He took
He
a
did
several
get his ass
L's.
beat.
Yeah. Several L's this season.
And yeah, they have to remind us, like, his name is Invincible, but like, you be almost dying.
Yeah, like they test that name quite
Yeah.
a bit.
Quite a bit.
Yeah.
And so a bunch of Mauler twins show, like he summons several. And yeah, again, he's about to die. And Angstrom is like, no, I will not have my, situation built on blood.
Yeah.
And so he pulls off the helmet, which causes a giant explosion. And Mark is just like, well, shit.
Was there a better way to handle that other than pulling your helmet off in the middle of a large energy transfer?
Well,
It's like,
because
I don't know.
I don't either, because my thought was you can't really send the Mauler twins back because then Mark will stop you,
Right.
but you don't want to leave them all here because they refuse to listen to you and they're gonna kill him.
Right.
So I don't know what you do in that
Yeah.
situation, and so I guess he was like, I'm just gonna take the helmet off.
But then gets mad that the result is you look
Everybody-
like Martin off of that one
Yeah,
episode.
cool. He had the big head.
Yeah, with the big lumped up head. Like, I don't
'Cause-
know.
My thought was, why don't you send everybody to a barren world, and then once you're
Yeah.
done, you bring them all back?
Right. That's what I was thinking. Like, while it's happening, yeah, you don't want this happening. Send them all somewhere.
But
Like,
he may have been worried about the same thing. He may have been like, well, even if I send them somewhere, they're gonna kill him.
maybe so.
I don't know, but yeah, like if it were me, like I wouldn't have brought more Mauler twins in. I would have just sent the 3 of them somewhere,
Yeah, exactly.
and then once I'm finished, yeah, all right, y'all can come back.
Yeah.
But whatever. or he, figured I've seen what Invincible could. Well, actually, I don't know if he has seen what Invincible does, but I don't know. I
Him,
feel like there was a better way to do that.
yeah, him just
Like
waking up
logically.
so angry and so like, I have to get paid. It was just like, nigga, you pulled the plug on a bomb and you're mad that the
At the
results of the
results.
bomb.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
here's what I attributed that to. I figured there was a different like a very angry Angstrom that is now the like first mind or the mind in charge. Because
Mm,
I think that him bringing all of the other Angstroms into himself probably made him angry because most of them live in a world where Invincible is a terrible fucking guy.
yeah.
And
So
so,
you think some of the transfer happened? It's some like something happened as far as
yeah,
the transfer.
yes, I think that a lot of them were transferred into him, but I get like he's not himself. One of the angry versions, maybe the one that we saw him get out of the subway, like that might be
Okay,
the
yeah,
main mind now.
I didn't even think
that
about
makes
that.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
But that's what I think happened because that's the only way that he could just wake up pissed off and
Yeah,
swear revenge. Because it's like, nigga, you being ugly, that's on you.
that's. I guess that's what threw me off. It's just like you was mild mannered and you decided to pull the plug and then woke up on just 10. I was just like, okay,
Yeah. But that's the way I understood it, or that's why the way that I tried to make logic out of it.
yeah,
But yeah, I think it's either that one is in charge, like that one is the one that has the flashlight or whatever, or the combination of all of them kind of became that because most of them hate Invincible because he is destroying their world. And
yeah,
that's the whole reason that he called them all together.
true, true,
But yeah. So and then yeah, one Mauler twin lives and he's all, two-faced. Like half of him is all fucked up and
yeah,
you know, that works in his favor for a little bit.
true,
But in episode 2, Mark is, it's Mark's graduation. And he's fighting Doc Seismic, who it looks like is like about to destroy the Washington Monument. But he's able to come away with the victory and he makes it to his graduation, which I guess nobody saw him fly there or whatever. That's fine. And so, cool. He graduates, he throws his hat up a little too hard,
yeah,
which I assumed would happen.
yeah, that's true.
And then we kind of see them in the treehouse, just, enjoying a couple beverages, talking about how this is going to be the best year ever.
Well,
And
boy, were they wrong.
yeah. And then we see there's a meeting about the Mars mission. So the I assume the president and the military, they're, at the table being like,
Yeah,
all right, what's the deal? And there's one guy who's being like obviously weird.
bro, that was hilarious.
He's like, I must visit the urination chamber. And when he said that, I was like, you're an alien. Like
Yeah.
Bro, I spotted it early. I was like, yo, this is
immediately.
hilarious. He's doing everything he thinks someone should do.
Yep. Like he's behaving like an alien in disguise. And so, yeah. And again, a lot of black people,
hmm
like black people in charge and all that. And so, um, we see him like in the mirror transform into a Martian and then transform back. So they were just letting us know, like,
hmm
hey, just in case y'all weren't catching it.
Right, yeah.
See,
Like there's
but
obviously.
this is another thing that I honestly forgot about this part because the season split. It's like when we saw him pull back up in like episode 4 or 5 or something like that.
Yeah.
I completely forgot about like this whole part of the episode. Like they went to space, and so
Makes
like
sense.
I think that is another reason why this season kind of suffered for me. It's like I completely forgot about that. Like if you watched it straight through, you would have got it, but if not,
Right.
you forgot about it.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
honestly, like when I read the episodes, we probably should have talked about the first half and then the second half, but we can talk about all of it. It's fine. This is how they should have done it. So, yeah, we see he's obviously Martian, which, we kind of knew. And then we see that Eve is, walking around, just talking to the people. And the people are like, yeah, the fucking permits and all the like shit that has to be done to get anything done around here is trash. And so she's like, oh, let's do it right now.
Yeah.
And so, she builds them a beautiful park, just fixes everything. And what is is her power just transmutation? Like
Bro,
She can
I had
atomic
everything.
questions.
manipulation,
Yeah, everything.
molecular, because she can just kind of do whatever the fuck she wants.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like there was no rhyme or reason to it.
Like she can just change shit into other shit.
Yeah.
Like that's her power.
And
But
use it to fly.
she can also fly. Yeah. Like
I
so
was like,
yeah.
is this Jean Grey, but also like Phoenix?
Molecule
Like,
Man.
Yeah,
yeah,
nah, this is she's something different.
Yeah, because I'm thinking like, how do you beat that? Like
right.
how did Invincible like I don't okay, whatever. That's fine. I'm sure that there's a wiki page that goes into great detail about her power, but she can kind of just do whatever the fuck she wants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure if some dude right now is probably yelling, "You should have read the comics." Like, nah, bro.
Yeah,
We did.
thanks.
We didn't.
Yep, sorry. Um, you'll have to be okay.
Yep.
I prefer the show with all the black people in it.
Yep. I did start them, but I never got around to finishing it. So
Yeah. And I know that there's like I think she has like a little movie or a little like side episode.
I was
yeah,
gonna
I-
ask y'all, did y'all watch that?
I forgot.
I have not. I will at some
I
point.
wasn't, but
It's not we're not gonna review that today.
Yeah, I heard it
Yeah.
wasn't bad though. I heard it. I heard it was
Oh,
pretty good.
I'm sure like, everything Invincible does is at least pretty good. So, I mean, I'm
yeah,
pretty sure, but yeah, like, I just
it just felt random when it did happen. Felt random. I was like, oh, okay,
It's like, oh, all right,
yeah,
okay. But her dad is basically like, hey, your powers, we don't do that here. Like
right,
you're cheating.
yeah.
Like, I work hard, I provide for this family.
He definitely is a Republican.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Like
Yeah,
he had because she was like, here's some gold. Go
yeah,
sell this and it will solve all of the problems. And he's like, no, I need calluses on my hands. How dare you bring
yeah.
your
I'm a
your
man.
witchcraft in here?
Yeah, no, I would have been like, yeah, let me get like 50 more of those.
Yeah, I would have same. I would have been like, yeah, we are good.
Yeah,
Because it's nothing for you to do that. Like
right.
it's easy. You don't have to like yeah, let's do this. So yeah, go ahead and take care of us. Make sure we ain't never got to work. Everything's gonna be fine. But he's stubborn and
That's that pride.
yeah, pride. Pride is what it is. I was gonna say like I don't know if that qualifies as toxic masculinity, but I think
Mm.
pride is a better
No, that's that pride.
explanation of that. Yeah,
Yeah,
because he's got to provide for his own family, do it himself. A hard working man. I don't need
9
no
to
help
5.
from no woman.
We didn't clip that one.
That's what he said. Well,
Yeah.
that's how he felt. So the park that she builds falls apart, and he basically is like, "I told you so." You
Yeah.
hear about what happened with your
Yeah.
little park, with your little powers, and I was like, "Wow, that's so trifling."
Yeah,
But whatever. She feels terrible about that. Luckily, nobody was hurt.
right.
And so now, Debbie and Mark, they're throughout these episodes, they're, trying to help each other through it, but also not get in each other's way because Debbie's like, hey, let's take a vacation. And Mark is like, I can't.
Yeah,
Um,
it'll
she's
work.
like, we need to do something.
Yeah.
Just you and me. Because Mark, you're all I have at this point.
Feel so bad for her, bro.
So bad. Like Debbie, yeah. And she needed to, yes, Debbie, you should be furious.
Right.
Like Debbie was like, he called me a fucking pet. I was married to this man for 20 years, and that's
Raise that man's child.
yeah. And that yeah, I felt so bad for Debbie because she gets into like how lonely she was because he was off saving the world. And so
Yeah.
she's here, raising this boy pretty much alone.
Hmm.
And yeah, ooh, yeah, Debbie had it the worst.
She really did.
Like, I just wanted to give Debbie a hug. Like,
Facts.
Debbie, you
Bro,
deserve
I
better.
never related to somebody so much when she tried to close that cabinet door and it came back open and then she closed it again and then it came back. Bro, she almost snapped that thing off the thing. I was like,
Uh,
man, I can't relate. I
yeah,
couldn't relate more.
if she had superpowers, she would have ripped that thing out the wall.
Oh,
Yeah.
easy.
Like she would,
Easy.
like, oh yeah. And that's the thing. I I too know that feeling. Like
Yeah.
being a homeowner, for the record, owning a home is bullshit. I know that there are positives. I know that there are good things. And one day I will appreciate that. But today, home ownership is bullshit.
Yeah, almost like a few, probably like 3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago, I almost had to buy a whole new oven. My damn oven went out, and I was like, I looked at the price of buying a new oven. I was like $3,000. I said, "Nah, I'm trying to fix this." And mind you, I'm not no manly man, boy. I was on YouTube like a crazy. Luckily, found what to do, fixed it myself. I felt like a real man though when I did that. I ain't even gonna lie.
Yeah.
So that
Owning a
you.
home is stupid.
Yeah.
I am often not a fan
Yeah.
because there's always a fucking project. There's always something happening. You could have a brand new house. There's going to be something. It's
Yeah.
stupid. And so, yeah, whenever that happened, I was like, God damn it.
Yeah.
And especially with even aside from the homeownership being bullshit, like everything she's been through, like it's just something small.
Oh, just that's what I'm saying. Like, all it needs is that small thing not to. You're already pissed because your day's going bad, but then that thing you expect to work the way it's supposed to work doesn't, and the frustration just takes you to another level.
It's like, so you know how if you're walking and your like pocket gets caught on a doorknob,
Oh yeah,
Oh
bro.
yeah, bro. You be like, what the fuck, bro?
that
Like
shit
that's that
only
send you
happens
over
on a
the
bad
edge.
day. It
Only happens on
it
that.
only happens it only happens when you are like,
Or
if
late.
one more fucking thing.
Yeah.
Like that's the only time it never happens on a good day.
No.
But yeah, like it was like that. It's just that one, if one more thing happens, I'm hitting someone.
Right.
And yeah, that was where that was. And I was like,
Yeah.
Debbie, yeah, I just you need a hug.
Facts.
But anyway, yeah. So Debbie and Mark are talking, and Debbie's like, you do not have to work for Cecil to convince anyone that you are not your father. Like you don't have to do that. And Mark was kind of like, Mom, I kind of do. And Debbie was like, no, you don't owe them a goddamn thing.
Right.
But, I can't stop you, but I don't want you don't have to do that. Also, I don't trust Cecil.
Hmm.
This is also the same episode that Duplicate came out with Immortal.
That is the next thing I
I'm
was
like,
gonna say is Rex finds
my
out.
boy Rex was sick.
Yeah, he finds out they're together, and yeah, he
Bro.
was he was not okay.
Bro, think about that feeling, bro. You see your chick walk out with a nigga 2 times your size.
And thousands of years older than you.
Bro.
Like, bro. Like every
What's
insecurity you
crazy
have.
is like he's sitting there talking to her and she's talking and she just like started moaning. He was like, wait a minute. I know that look. And then like dude is like three of them walks out with him. He was like, mind your business. I'm like, oh man.
Bro. He should have been sick, man.
Oh, he was. He was not okay.
Bro.
And he didn't handle it well.
Yeah.
And this may be the episode, or maybe it's later whenever they talk, and Duplicate basically says, like, no one understands what it's like to die all the time.
Yeah.
And so he's the only person that gets it. We understand each other on a very different level.
You never want to hear that as a guy.
Yeah.
You never want to hear that. What you say?
You never want
Me
to
and him just
hear,
have a special connection.
yeah, you ain't shit. You ain't never gonna be shit. Like
Yeah.
that's like you will never understand me the way that this man does. Period. There's nothing you can do.
Bro.
Yeah.
Worst thing you can hear.
I wanna go forward a little bit. When Mark finally gets like the underwater people, and then like he's like fighting. He's like, oh wait, this is all I gotta fight. And he's like fighting little bitty things. He's like,
Oh
oh, that's
yeah,
it. And then the full thing pulls it. He's like, oh man.
Yeah.
those
Before
people were
that,
funny looking too.
he fights Robin pretty much.
Oh, in the dark world or whatever.
Yeah. And that was when he was trying to like figure it out. He was like, what the fuck is it? How's it dark over here and not
Yeah, that was funny.
over here? And then yeah, Darkwing, the new Darkwing was like actually like doing something for a little bit.
Yeah,
And then Mark was like, all right, enough of this shit.
yeah,
Like, come on. Like you're just a boy.
yeah.
You don't
Now,
you don't want these problems.
I want to ask y'all because I know we've had these discussions before. I'm usually the one that stands on the side of justice and
Oh my
doing
gosh.
the right thing, and y'all are like, nigga, that's what you signed up for, So when Mark was trying to leave, what I mean, the Aqua world or whatever, and he looks down and see they're all getting murdered. What would y'all have done? If you were Cecil, would y'all would have told him, nah, go ahead and leave. That's what they signed up for. Or you would have been like, hey, Mark, go back down there, help him out. What would y'all have told him?
If I'm Cecil,
Yeah, if you're Cecil.
You gotta come back up.
yeah.
I can't lose you. You gotta come back.
If I'm Cecil, yeah, you're coming back.
That's what I'm talking
no,
about, bro. Y'all are
but if I'm Mark, I would have tried to save them. Like I
right.
would have done what Mark did. I would have said, "No, I'm gonna do my best to make sure these people don't die." But if I'm Cecil, nah, bring your ass back up here.
Yeah, bro. That's straight fish fry. We
Like
good.
they are not my priority. And they also tried to feed you to that thing. No,
Yeah, they definitely
bring it
set
in.
Mark up. Yeah,
Come
come
on.
on.
Come on back. Yeah, if I'm Cecil, nah.
Yeah.
That's what them's the breaks.
See, that's to me, that's messed up. Because if Cecil, you know what his dad would do. So it's like this is an opportunity to even if you
His
know
dad wouldn't even
Mark
went
is
down
better
there.
than his dad, you set him up to be better. You
And
go,
that's
hey man, go down
again,
there and
if I'm
you know,
Mark, I fix it. Like I would have said, no, I'm going to go down there and help those people. If I'm Cecil, bring your ass back up here.
nah, Cecil got to be better than that, man.
No, he does not.
Yes, he does, man. Otherwise, he's gonna have an
Because
Omni-Man situation.
again, if I'm Cecil, then I'm like, no, y'all set my man's up for this.
Yeah.
Y'all had him fight the Rancor, and now y'all no. Hey, I can't risk losing him also under the circumstances. I can't do that to Debbie. I can't do that to
See, Brandon,
these United States.
you didn't even consider Debbie. What if she'd have lost Mark?
Yeah.
Well,
Would
Brandon's
Debbie
considering
the
the
type of mama?
Atlanteans.
No, Debbie the type of mama like, hey, you walk in this house, you don't run from a fight. You gonna get your ass whooped. You come
Not,
back in
not,
here.
not, not in this Debbie. Not in this state. She just lost her husband. She don't
They
want to
say
lose her son too.
Mm. If he'd be like, yeah, I let all those people get murdered. What's for dinner?
And
She
she
gonna
was
be
like,
like,
see,
you
and
can't be your dad."
that's not how that's gonna go. Cecil is gonna have to say, "Hey, Debbie, um, I need to tell you something. I
yeah.
uh, I ordered Mark to go down there, and he didn't come back.
Mm.
So,
She'd be
nah,
like, he went out in a blaze of glory. He went out as a real hero.
if I'm Cecil, bring your ass back up here."
Uh,
So, anyway, that happens. The Darkwing thing is just like, filler. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, thanks for letting us know that
he
Darkwing's
exists.
thanks for letting us know that his protege is, pissed and seeking revenge, but also can't do shit.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll see him again later in like season 3. Maybe he'll matter because I'm kind of wondering why he hasn't been called into the new league or the new
Yeah.
Guardians, but
Sure.
maybe he refused. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, the Atlanteans are like, hey, you killed our king, and protocol is you have to marry the queen. Omni-Man's gone, so you got to do it. And he gets down there and the queen is like, yeah, we don't do that shit anymore. Like,
Yeah.
obviously the records haven't been updated up there. But yeah, we don't do that. You do though. You do have to fight the Rancor, and then all the stuff we just talked about happens. It gets loose and just starts killing people.
Bro, it just smashed. Just that was
And
nasty.
and Cecil was like, "Hey, come back. That's on them." And Mark is like, "No, I'm gonna have to save them."
Yeah.
And he does. And then again, Debbie, it's not going well for Debbie.
Yeah.
And we see the Lizard League, which is just random.
Hilarious.
Yeah. And yeah, like there's a guy who thinks he's in charge, and then the OG leader comes and
Bro.
reclaims his power.
John Wick, that dude.
Yeah,
Right in the head.
like not playing around.
Yeah.
And I am the leader of the Lizard League, and whatever the fuck he said.
Yeah.
So cool. Because yeah, they were having a town hall, and
Yeah.
they were, about to rally and stuff. And yeah, the leader came back and said, "Daddy's home." So yeah, I got the plans.
See, and it's another one that I forgot who he even was, because when he came back, I was like, "Oh, who's this new dude?" And I was like, "Oh, I forgot we even saw him."
Yeah.
Yep. So, in the next episode, Mark gets dropped off at college, and I'm like, "So you drove him in a car to college? All right."
He wants to be
thanks.
normal.
I mean, yeah, like the experience or whatever. But okay, if anything, well, I guess people don't need to know that he's invincible, so maybe okay, keeping up the facade, cool. Um, she drops him off, and she does the whole mom thing, like I can't believe this. I was just
Yeah.
changing your diapers. This is wild, and all of that, and I'm like, oh god, eventually that's gonna be a thing that has to happen, and I don't know if I want to do that.
Did y'all parents cry when they dropped y'all off?
I
Yeah.
don't know.
I know my mom did.
My
My
mom
mom did.
My mom cries all the time. Like anytime we do anything, she'd be crying. So
Yeah.
she probably cried. But
Yeah.
matter of fact, I don't know if my mom came with me. I think it was just me, my dad, and my stuff, because there wasn't room in the car with all the I don't remember. It was a long time ago. But Mark is like, "Hey, I have like Mark, he and his best friend, they're like, "Hey, we're roommates, cool. If there's a sock on the door, leave. Don't worry about it. I'm in the middle of somebody.
Yeah.
So
Somebody.
don't disturb me."
Right.
And so Mark is like, "All right." So he goes to Amber, and Amber's like, "Hey, we got the place. We're in college now.
Yeah.
I'm about to make a man out of you." And, she asks some very valid questions. She's like, "Hey, am I going to die? Are you going to crush me? Like, what are we looking at here?"
Yeah, for real.
And
yeah,
he's like,
you gotta know that.
yeah, he's like, I think we're gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure.
Right.
And so she's like, "All right, I'm ready to risk it. Let's go."
She has super sperm too.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Like, it could be a situation where he finishes and just blows a hole straight through her head, and nobody wants that.
That's gonna be a crazy scene.
But that's the thing.
Nigga said blows a hole. Oh,
We gotta know. These are the questions you ask, and I'm really glad they covered that, because I would have said, "So like."
Yeah, we would have had a whole discussion about.
Yes.
Oh, so y'all would have had that discussion with Mark, huh?
You would have been in it too. What are you talking about? You'd have been like, wait, hold on.
Y'all put yourself in that situation. So y'all was Amber, huh?
No, I'm saying if
Bro.
I'm a Viltrumite, no, we need to cover all the
Bro,
bases.
Jordan, you'd have been like, wait, hold on. So what the hell said? Would he use a condom? So you'd have that whole conversation. Chill out.
Glad they covered that. I'm glad that was addressed. And they decide, yes, let's just go ahead. We just gonna do it.
Yeah.
We're gonna risk it. We're here.
You horny. Rules are
Yeah.
obsolete.
They're horny. They're in college. They're finally able to. Oh yeah.
The first time, yeah.
Yeah, everything's off the table. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like we ready to risk it all.
Yeah, this is what it's gonna be. This is
Yeah.
what it's gonna be. And so then we see what happens on Unopa. Everything's fine. They're technologically advanced and happy, and everything's cool. And then Viltrum shows up and gets straight to it.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if that's because one of the things I kind of wonder in the whole Viltrumite Empire thing, and I'm sure the comic book covers this, but I'm wondering, like, is it normal for them to like go to a world and then condition it for a minute and then, bring on or do they just sometimes they just show up and start laying waste?
They probably like to fight. So like, let's bring on the strongest. 'Cause, nobody's as strong as them. So it's like, let's try to train them up. It'll be a good match.
Yeah, I wonder if they like assess the threat level. These people ain't no threat. Like humans, yeah, we ain't worry about them. So we'll assimilate them.
And maybe it's because the thing is, he showed up, he was a hero for a while. Like he was there for at least 20 years before he decided to, lay waste to the Guardians. And so I'm wondering, like, is that normal? Like, do you normally like condition it for a minute, or did he have to, give it a slow roll because they had heroes who could do some stuff? I also wonder why Viltrum hadn't colonized Mars, because Mars wasn't far and had, very capable creatures on it. Or maybe somebody's already, I don't know. But I kind of have some questions about Viltrumite conquest, but mainly because we just see in this, they just show up and start going.
Yeah.
And the Unopans fight back. And that's what's surprising about it is I would think they would have assessed that and they would have like had an idea of what they were able to do and all that before they just started going. But again, Viltrum, they were too much.
Yeah.
And so the surviving Unopans were like, hey, we made it, we survived, and the coalition of planets is like, excellent. We don't like the Viltrum Empire either, so we're trying to, get a council together to take care of that because it's an issue, a very serious issue. And so that's how Alan happens. They, build him in a lab and make him strong and all that. And so he, traveling through space, we met him in the first season, and he reports to the coalition about Mark. He's like, hey, Mark is a Viltrumite, but he's not with the Empire. He's on Earth. Omni-Man isn't there right now, yada yada. And he's like, all right, cool. Let's get him. Let's bring him into the fold. And then the Viltrum interrogation unit comes, and yeah, they fuck him up.
Like they had 3-on-1. That's tough.
One thing I will say, I loved the sound design for them fighting in space. Like whoever mixed that, like it was flawless in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because the all the sounds of everything that happened in space, because that's how it's gonna happen. It's like that was really good to me. That was random, but that was great. And so yeah, they fuck him up.
Like that was brutal. I was like, damn, y'all couldn't just take him or
no.
You know what I mean?
They because taking him didn't matter because he was like, I'm not talking. And they were like, all right.
Yeah. Like they asked him like one question. It was like, oh, okay, we're just gonna kill you.
That's how Viltrumites, they don't play around.
Yeah.
Like, that is their way. Their way is broken Xbox, no games.
Right.
And so yeah, they I mean, and it's clear that there's a mole somewhere.
Right.
And I guess that doesn't get addressed, but I guess we'll eventually find out who that is because it's very clear that there's a mole. And Thetis knew there was a mole and kind of used this to, find out that there was a mole. But we never I don't remember finding out who the mole was, do y'all?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Hopefully they address that later because I need to know who the mole is. But yeah, they fuck him up. And they have him in a little life support unit, and Thetis turns that thing off. And I'm like, okay, so Unopans are like Saiyans. They can do some shit, and then if they get all fucked up and then they recover, they come back stronger.
Mm.
And that is the Saiyan way. If a Saiyan gets fucked up, they get in that little water chamber with a little mask
Yeah.
where they're floating, and then they come out that thing ready. And so that Unopans are Saiyans in that regard. Rudy finally builds up the nerve to ask Monster Girl on a date, and she says yes. And this is where we see Debbie go to the grief meeting. We only use first names. You don't have to talk the first time. It takes a minute. Like, just, when you're comfortable, you can say something, but we're not going to make you do anything. It's nice and easy here. And Debbie, I'm assuming this is the same episode where Debbie goes to the bar and she meets somebody from the grief meeting.
The black dude, and he's just like, "Oh, Omni-Man like messed up my whole life and everything."
Yeah, Omni-Man fucked up everything. And then eventually she's like, "Hey, I'm Omni-Man's wife. He fucked me up too." And the black dude was like, "Yeah, I don't need to see you ever again."
Yeah. And then Doctor Strange Dog popped up out of nowhere. I was like, "What in the
Dr.
world?"
Strange Dog. I was like, "What the fuck?" That was so random.
That's where the show. I didn't want to say the show. That's where the universe loses me sometimes. It's like, all right, bro, like we get it. This is a parody of. We get it, but like, I don't know. Sometimes it's like, all right.
Yeah, I agree. I was like, "What? All right. What? Oh, whatever. Okay."
There's a later part where we can talk about that too with the signing.
We will. Yeah,
we'll talk about it.
Because they go. Yeah, they
a
take
little too long.
That fourth wall. They just
Let's I would say we got to speed it up a little bit.
Oh, you're right. So because we're only on episode 3.
Yeah.
So anyway, that thing is like, "Hey, Mark, I need your help. My planet's dying." And Mark is like, "Alrighty, I will go with you, strange alien." But Mark has to be convinced because Mark's like, "I'm not leaving." And his friend is like, "No, you have to go help these people. They need you." And so he's like, "Okay, fine." He says goodbye to Amber. He leaves. He arrives and finds Omni-Man.
Pops.
Yeah, his pops there. That was crazy. I was not expecting that at all.
I kind of was. Because at the end of season 1, we see Omni-Man fly off randomly. And so I figured Mark was going to be taken to wherever Omni-Man was. But
I did not see that come with the Roach people.
So yeah. Hello, Mark. And then we go to the next episode where we see a flashback of what happened and how Omni-Man got where he was. He's just floating through space, ready to kill himself. Like he finds, I'm pretty sure, like a black hole, and he's like, "All right, I can end it right here."
Yeah.
And then he decides to, save this ship of random insectoids, and he manages to,
smash
find
one.
love.
That is wild. He's like, "You left my mom for a grasshopper person." Like, yeah,
Man, he don't give a damn. That man does not care
because he's an alien, so it doesn't matter to him.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, to him, everybody's an alien, and we see that in other things. Like, we see Captain Kirk fucking everything.
Yeah, that's true. Like, Peter Quill.
Yeah, if you're around aliens, that's just what it is.
Yeah, but then you had a purple human roach baby by this person. I was like, "Yo," he's like, and then just give the baby to Mark and just like, "Yo, this is your brother. Like, here you go."
Yeah.
Because like whenever he arrives, he's like, "Dad, I'm so happy to see you, but also fuck you."
Yeah.
And Omni-Man is like, "Hey, this is your brother. How about you show some fucking respect?"
Right.
Which yeah, like because Mark was like, what? Like,
Yeah,
and I'm like, Mark, that's a reasonable response, honestly.
sure.
And so the Viltrumites find them, and Omni-Man is like, hey, Mark, take your stepmother and your little brother and protect them because I gotta go handle this.
That was a good fight.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was. And then Steve Harvey come in there swanging on him.
Steve Harvey.
And luckily Mark was able to, handle that situation. And then the lady with the braid, because
She
Omni-Man is
was
like,
beating the brakes out of Mark, boy.
Omni-Man said, stop being a bitch. You have to fight for your life today.
Right,
Like,
right.
that's basically what he said. Because Omni-Man was like, I'm going to train you because they're going to come.
Yeah,
They're going to send a squad here. And so you need to be ready for that. So I will train you because this planet is in danger because I'm here. So let's get you trained up. And then they show up and he's like, all right, no time. You're going to have to go right now.
yeah.
And I mean, Mark does find it. Like
Sure.
Mark gets it going. But yeah, they do. They had to work for that meal.
Yeah.
And
They would see him
this
get
is
taken down too. I was not expecting Omni Man to get taken down at all.
I
Same.
mean,
To
it
get
was
captured. And
it was other Viltrumites. And so yeah, I was like, if anybody can do it, it's gonna be
Well,
something else.
I guess I didn't see the black dude coming back. Like I thought the black dude was out.
Yes. This show has a lot of, oh, you thought they were dead, but nope.
yeah.
Because there are so many times we get so the black dude tricks us whenever Alan got all fucked up and then Thetis turned off his life support, we were like, oh, Alan's gone. And we need to find out what's going on with Thetis. We're gonna talk about here in a minute about some people that we thought died and didn't. Immortal we thought died and didn't. So yeah, like nobody dies in this show. Donald died and then didn't.
Yeah.
And that's what we find out. Donald is like, "Oh, I was brought back from the dead and I don't know what I am anymore."
This is
And
also the episode we see the Molar twins come back too.
yes,
No, it's
so
true.
before that, General Krieg shows up and lets Mark know like, "Hey, real quick. Your dad, he's going to be executed. You are going to continue his mission. You're going to go back to Earth and you're going to prepare it for us. That's what you're going to do." And he's like, "No, I'm not doing that." He's like, "Yes, the fuck you are. And we're going to execute your father. Viltrum on high. That's what we're doing. Heil Viltrum." And so, that's when we see the Mauler twins. And yeah, the two-faced one is like, haha, I'm the real one.
Right.
And we know that. So like there's no negotiating. And he treats him like a number two. So number two's like, all right, I got something for you.
And this was basically the mid-season finale because this is the one where we went to break and we didn't see it for a while.
Yep.
I'm glad I didn't watch this live, like week to week, because I would have been pissed off. That would have been annoying.
Yeah, I legit forgot like a lot of the stuff watching it back. I did not remember half these people coming back.
That's why I didn't even start watching it until it was all out because I was like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, that's a bad business idea. I hate it when Reacher did it.
Yeah, like what are we doing?
Yeah, like it just you're basically giving up any relevancy you have. Too many shows get put out. Anytime you take a break, like you're asking for another show to take all that attention away. I think it's kind of crazy.
Yeah. So, we come to the next episode and, Thraxa is being rebuilt and Mark is helping. They get him back to a healthy place because again, last time we saw him, he had swollen eyes and a beaten ass.
Yeah.
And so the Thraxans are like, "Hey, Mark, you need to go home." Like, and Mark
Yeah.
is like, y'all need my help. What do you mean I need to go? Mark, go home. I'm an old ass lady now.
Right.
You have not been here that long. And I am look at me. So take your brother because he needs to. You are the only family he will have here in a minute.
Yeah.
And so Mark returns to Earth And Debbie's like, "Hey, I'm so happy to see you. What the fuck is that thing?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, "So I was already not okay, but now you're telling me that he went and found a new grasshopper wife, impregnated her, and now I have to raise
Bruh.
like." And I'm like, "Debbie, we were
Can't catch a break.
can't catch a break because now Debbie's like, I have to raise him. I can't just not because this
Yeah.
innocent baby didn't do anything, and this is Mark's only like this is Mark's family too. So I have to do it."
Yeah.
And Donald, Cecil is like, "Donald, do you really want to know what happened to you?
Yeah.
Here you go. Here.
Open up the files.
I know you thought you had a little password. Now here's the unrestricted shit."
Yeah, exactly.
Because Cecil really thought he had clearance, or Donald really thought he had clearance, and Cecil was like, "No, no one
Bro.
has clearance."
When you ran into that building, I was like, yeah, it's a wrap. Yeah, I was like, yeah, that thing's exploding.
So another thing we see is that there's a ship headed to Earth from Mars, and the Martian man is like, "Oh, well, guys, I have something to share with you."
It's like,
Yeah.
I'm an alien. Yeah, no, I think we
And
figured that out.
Donald was
Yeah, we
like,
figured out you're weird, bro.
yeah, Donald was like, "You thought we didn't know that? Like, what the fuck?"
Nigga, you mad weird, bro. Like,
Yeah, like,
it's pretty obvious.
dude, we knew early because when
Yeah.
he showed up and was like, "Hello, Guardians, it is I, Shapesmith, here
Yeah.
to join your team." Yeah,
Bro.
yeah. Cecil was like, you didn't need to.
Didn't he run on the thing like stationary, but like the treadmill or whatever? Like,
so when they were training,
yeah. I forgot what he did in that training room, but that was hella weird.
He was doing something stupid,
Yeah.
and it was. Yeah, Cecil was like, "Yeah, we know. How about you tell us something we don't know?"
Exactly.
And then he's like, "Yeah, sequids. They're pretty much slaves because they can't take over our bodies. But when the humans showed up, they took over their bodies. So
Right.
what I did, I committed high treason, and I just kind of let that shit happen. And I took over, like this guy. He was out, and so I wanted to come to Earth. So I just played like I was him." And they're like, "Oh, so you left a human on Earth so that?" Oh,
and then
Yeah.
this is the one where they do the split mission.
yes.
One goes to space,
They send the heavy hitters
and
to
then the
space.
snake, that one group attacked them. Oh my gosh, it went down from there.
Yeah. So this was a good, and again, they know how to do a first episode, and this kind of acted as a first episode
That's true.
back.
Yeah.
And so they make sure you get some shit because the heavy hitters go to handle the Sequid problem, and the Lizard League is like, "All right, now's our chance. We
Yeah.
will attack the military base." And so they do that because Rex is like, "Ain't nothing gonna happen.
Right.
I promise ain't nothing gonna happen." And then that shit happens. And Rex is like, "I really don't. Guys, what are we doing? Just, okay. We're gonna have to defeat you. This is what it's gonna have to be." And they're formidable a little bit.
No, it really is.
Yeah, you got them
At
soldiers.
least two of them are, and because the leader of the Lizard League, he just slithers away.
Yeah.
And they start fighting the other two, and that big one, that dude was a problem.
Yeah.
Like when he killed Kate, I was like, "Oh no, not the last one."
Or even when he ate old girl.
When he ate old girl and then she grew, I was like, "Oh no."
He
Yeah.
blew a
Oh.
bubble with her blood. That was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's imagination right there.
Yeah. And I mean, when she grew and like got all in his neck, I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh yeah, there's no way he can come back from that. Like,
Yeah.
he's got to be done." But I knew she was dead too. Like I just knew it. And then Rex is able to kill the other one. And we see that on the main squad, the Sequids, there's a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
That's an understatement.
Yeah, and he says, like, whenever he kills one, he's like, they have a hive mind. Now they know we're here.
Hmm.
And yeah, there were so many of them. And I'm wondering, were there always that many, or did having a human host like allow them to multiply in such a way? Because
That's a
it
good
seems
question.
like if that's something they were able to do, then even though they can't take over the Martians, they should have been able to overwhelm the Martians.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
But I'm wondering if having a human host allowed them to, maybe that's what gave them a hive mind, or maybe that is what allowed them to multiply the way that they did. Because we see later that the dude like gives birth to one. And
Oh
so
yeah, forgot about
I'm
that.
wondering if having a human host is what gave them power in some form because they are a parasite. And
Yeah,
if not having anybody to latch on to is why they were able to be enslaved. But yeah, anyway. So the main squad is like, oh shit, this is a lot. There are too many of them. And so yeah, it's this is an issue. We see that Alan wakes up and he is like too fucking much now. Like he kind of like busts out of his little healing thing. Is like, oh, that looks expensive.
yeah,
And Thetis was like, great. I was not sure how that was gonna go. So really glad that this is how that went.
yeah,
But also, and then he rips off his Gandalf beard and it's like, I'm a Viltrumite.
yeah. Like no one saw that coming.
Yeah, I was like, all right.
Yeah,
And so he's like, also, we need to get Mark. So, but if you didn't read the comic, because I'm sure the comics already knew that, but that's one thing I wasn't sure about. Like, whenever he did turn off his life support, I was like, oh, so is Thetis the villain? Like, what?
I
So
thought
Viltrum
that
is everywhere.
honestly. Yeah,
Like, I wasn't sure what the deal was there. So they got me a little bit.
yeah, they got me.
But, um, yeah. And so Rex now has a gun to the back of his head. And so whenever Rex is like, do it, I was like, he's not going to do it. Surely
Yeah,
he's not going to do it. And he pulled the trigger.
yep.
He did it. And I was like, oh shit. Uh, Rex is dead.
I
Like
thought for
the
sure it was a wrap.
like he shot him in the back of like he executed him.
Yeah,
And so I was like, all right, he's dead. That's wild. And then Rex got up.
Yeah, that's on the next episode. Yeah, he gets up.
yeah,
Notice in this, well, in the episode where he got shot in the back of the head,
Oh
he,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, he got up and killed the lizard man. And I was like, what the? He got shot in the back of his head. Like, what? So nobody dies. Is the lizard man even dead? Like, no. What do we? So nobody dies. Okay, that's good to know. Nobody important dies.
Like the MCU, man.
Yeah, that's what we. That's. I was like, okay, good to know. So, because whenever Shrinking Ray was alive, I said to myself, I was like, duplicate's alive. That wasn't the OG. Like, I know she's alive. There's
Yeah,
no way that as a multiplier, no, she's alive. That's whenever I saw
you
the
have to
other two
be.
lived, I was like, yeah,
Yeah, you have to be dumb as hell to be a multiplier and die. Like you got to be the
yeah,
dumbest person alive.
yeah.
agreed. And
Yeah,
so I was like, yeah, she's alive somewhere. Like the original body is somewhere.
right.
But so the main squad is able to handle the Sequid problem, and they're able to save that astronaut and, get on up out of there. And the Martians are like, no, leave him here. He got to answer for his crimes.
Right.
So y'all are free to go. Thank you so much for handling this. We really appreciate it. He stays because he's the reason we're here.
Right.
And then Mark does that thing where he's like, just give me 1 second. And then next scene you just see him taking off running. Like I'm pretty sure I watched a video of him. He's done that like 4 times throughout the series.
And Brandon, I'd have left his ass there.
Yeah, I
No,
think
I would have left him there too, yeah.
He gonna have to answer for that. Because he's the reason we're here. He did this to himself. He's gonna, yes, keep him. That's how it's gotta be. I know exactly what's gonna happen to him. And that's fine. Now, I'm sure that Mark has a soft spot for it because his dad is in a similar high treason, about to be executed by his people situation.
Mhm.
And Mark is also a good person who's not just going to let somebody die. But yeah, you're going to have to stay here, shapeshift. That's just how it's got to be. Um, but, I ain't shit. And that's been established. So we have people healing from their injuries. Debbie's like, I'm going to name this boy Oliver because he needs a name.
Have the funeral in episode 6-2 for Kate.
Yeah, they have Kate's funeral, and Immortal is not okay, and he knows that.
Oh
And
yeah, you're struggling.
yeah, and because he's like, she was never supposed to die.
Right.
Like that, this is not a situation I thought I would be in. And he mentions whenever he's talking to Cecil, he is very self-aware because he said, I didn't trust Mark, and my mistrust of Mark almost got us killed.
Yeah.
Mark had to put me in check.
You almost
Mark had to
caused
say,
a
I'm stronger and faster than you.
right.
I have to do it. And my mistrust almost got it. Like, Cecil, I can't do this.
Gave him some
I
PTO time.
know that. And Cecil was like, yeah, I told you to take a vacation,
Yeah.
but you're not leaving.
Right.
Like, this is my resignation. No, I
Yeah.
don't accept. Like, you're not
Cecil
leaving.
does not accept resignations.
And Cecil's like, we are spread thin already. You're not
Yeah.
going anywhere. You could go to Fiji or whatever, take your little nap. But like, no, you're coming back. We're doing this.
Right.
So yeah, I do not accept your resignation. Understand that. And so, we see that Cecil is sending nannies because Debbie's like, I got to go back to work. And that first nanny, that old lady, Debbie's like, I've been playing this game with Cecil for years. Get out of my house.
Right.
Like, I know for a fact. And she's like, oh, who's Cecil? Get out of my house.
Bitch,
And
get
then
out.
and then another nanny comes and she's like, hey, Cecil hired me. Just so you know. But I don't
Yeah.
work for him, I work for you. And I was like, that's strategery.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure that Cecil was like, oh, that first lady didn't work. So let's just go ahead and
Yeah.
do this. But I was like, hopefully she's being genuine. But like, I'm like, that's a part of the plan, is to
Yeah.
just like feign openness. But whatever, she gets hired because Debbie's like, well, I appreciate your candor, so let's do this. Then this is, I'm pretty sure, the episode Rick comes back, and Rick is going through his own trauma, the same kind of trauma that Donald went through, because Donald's having nightmares about, some Terminator shit. And Rick is having similar, like, I don't know what is happening to me. I don't know what I am. I should be dead, and I was like all that. And so he's struggling. There's a lot of people with a lot of mental health issues that are struggling in this season.
Yeah, that was a good scene when Donald saved
Donald
him from
talked him off
talked him off the ledge.
Yeah, because there's a lot that they address here.
Yeah.
And so Donald initially was like, hey, I want you to erase my memories because I can't live like this. And that's why I had you erase them the first time. And then Donald, through Rick, realizes like, no, I have to hold on to this so that I can help others through it. Because I know that I'm not the only person who needs to have somebody through this traumatic time that we're having. So Donald decides to hold on to those memories so that he can be helpful to others later. Because honestly, that's what Donald is. Donald is a man of the people. Like, we see that Donald is about it. Donald will put
he ready
himself
to
on
rock.
the line. Yeah, like, and he did it 117 times. However many new bodies he got.
Yeah.
Like, Donald is about it.
Yeah.
And so, Donald was like, no, I will hold on to this for others so that I can be a blessing for those who need it.
Is this the episode where Omni-Man is not captured, but
He had already been captured. Like,
That's
he was
right,
captured
last episode?
Yeah.
This is the one where he gets the book though.
Yeah, this is the one where Mark a couple things happen. Mark is talking to his old guy, and Amber is talking to Eve, and they're both having the discussion of like, I'm kind of selfish because I want these things, and our relationship isn't going well because of all of like they're having that conversation. And both of them were like, instead of talking to me, how about you go talk to your significant other about all this?
Right.
And that conversation felt very real. And that's when the guy's like, P.S. Uh, Omni-Man did write books. I have all of them. Here you go. And so he starts reading through the books and he's like, oh shit. He wrote about his adventures.
Yeah.
And
which is pretty cool.
there may be some answers in here. Okay. And so cool. He reads through the books, figures out that may handle the Viltrumite issue. And Immortal is like that's when Immortal's like, hey, nah, I'm out. And Alan comes to Earth, and Immortal goes up there and finds Alan first. And Alan mentions Omni-Man, and Immortal's like, Omni-Man, and then just goes. He's like, no,
Yeah.
yeah. And then Mark is like, whoa, 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 whoa. He's a friend.
Right.
And then that's when we find out that the little mind talking thing only works with Alan and one person at a time. Like
Yeah.
he can't just like create
Oh yeah.
he can't create a
that's
party
right.
line.
Yeah, that's right.
And so yeah, that was funny. But he comes down, they exchange information, and he's like, hey, here are the books. I think that we may be able to actually use these to find answers for how we can defeat the Viltrum Empire. And he's like, excellent, I'm going to take this to Thetis. And I can't remember if Alan was like, hey, Mark, you need to come with me right now. And Mark was like, nah, I can't do that right now. Or if
It
it
just
was
came from out. Yeah,
hey,
it was like I just came from outer space. I can't go back again.
yeah, like here's some information. I just got back from outer space twice, and I have a life here. I'm not going with you, but here is maybe some help. And I think this is the episode where Angstrom comes back, and Angstrom is interrogating a random Mark, and we see in this alternate world, Cecil and Donald are both women, and they have captured Invincible, and he like Angstrom is like, hey, I got some questions because I need to know how to defeat y'all. So what happened? And I guess that Mark gives him some information. He's like, all right, cool, bye.
Yeah.
And then this also shows that the worm people came back and took over that one dude.
Yes, he spits out a sequid, and then like it's them things are on Earth now, and that's not good.
Right.
And so, in the next episode, they're at Comic-Con, and we see a Thanos dupe, and we just see all kinds of, references and spoofs and everything. And this is when we get the whole
That was so
explanation.
stupid. It's like dumb.
I mean,
animation, and this is what we do, and I was just like, all right, bro.
I thought it was funny.
I was like, this is cute.
Yeah, I thought it was very informative, honestly. Like, it lets you know, because then after I watched that, I was watching the other cartoon stuff, and I was like, oh, look at them, they're doing it.
I mean, everybody knows that, though. Like,
yeah, but not for them to explicitly say it. Everyone probably
like,
didn't know that.
That's the thing. Like, when it's brought to your attention, then you start to like, oh, they really do that. Yeah, like they were like, yeah, we're gonna put out some trade secrets, and I mean, that's very Seth Rogen. Like
it was the first joke was good when it talked about the delay and how long animation takes, because everybody knew obviously it was like between season 1 and season 2 what took so long.
Yeah,
so that made sense, but the rest of it was like, all right, bro.
And I think that they were just addressing the like, I bet those fights take a while to animate, and they were like, yeah, so cut us some slack. And then they explained a bunch of stuff, and I was like, that's I appreciated it, but I was like, okay, all right, fourth wall, whatever. So Mark leaves because Rex needs help, because Rex has gotten back in the game, and it's like, Rex, what the fuck are you doing? You should not be in this situation right now.
Yeah, he almost didn't make it.
He almost didn't make it. And Rudy's trying to teach Monster Girl how to use a robot because he's like, hey, you have a problem and I am a fixer of problems. And she's like, ew, how dare you call my condition a problem?
Broken. I'm not broken.
Yeah,
just
I don't need to
cursed.
be fixed.
Yeah.
And Rudy's made leader again because Immortal is gone. And this is when Donald finds out, like, oh shit, I've died so many times.
Yeah.
This is also when Mark meets Carl Winslow, who's the dean now. And
that's right.
Carl is like, hey, you about to get kicked out of school. You got to make a decision. Do you want this or not? And Mark is like, yes, I'm dedicated to school. And this is when Rick almost kills himself.
Yeah.
And Donald is able to talk him away from that. And we see that Mark has made a deal with Cecil about the scheduling. And Mark is like, hey, I'm going to dedicate specific time to you, Amber. I know I have a job and I know that there are a lot of things going on, but I am here for you. So we've built time into my schedule for us to be able to actually live.
Young girl pulled up.
Yeah, they're on a date and Anissa just shows up. He's like, hey, we need to talk. If you refuse, I will snap her shit right now.
Right.
Yeah, no, Mark was freaking out.
And I want you to try to stop me. I want you to. If you think you can stop me, please try.
Right.
So Mark does stay calm. Like, surprised. Like, Mark is like, hey, whoa.
Because he know he can do nothing. And when they started fighting, he couldn't do nothing.
He has seen he has played the Viltrumite game. He fought his dad, and then he fought with his dad against some interrogators. And he's like, if this is one of those, and she young, she's spry. So
she hit him with that bubble eye and put that bubble eye on him.
Yeah. So they go up to the sky, and this is like, hey, I'm just here to gently remind you that you've got some shit to do.
Yeah.
Because for Viltrum is why we're here, and you're being slow, Mark. So what's the deal? And Mark keeps refusing, and he's like, no, I'm not gonna do it. And Cecil is like, tell that bitch tell her yes. What are you doing? Lie right now.
Right.
Because Mark,
they should have had Samuel Jackson as the voice for Cecil, because that would be hilarious just to see. I would love to hear Samuel's voice in that moment, like lie to her.
I mean, they wanted not Donald. They wanted Cecil to be a calm person. So I think that getting the dude from Justified was a good move. But yeah, Cecil is like, hey, she is too much for you.
Right.
I know it. You know it. She knows. Everybody knows that she is too much for you. Lie.
Yep.
Lie to get her off the planet, and we will come up with something. But you cannot fight her. And Mark is like, I am a man of honor, and I will not tell a lie.
Bubble up that eye real fast, though.
Real quick. She beat his ass.
And even after the fight, when he goes visit, his girlfriend, and they have the whole conversation about
they break up,
like he still had the bubble eye in. I'm like, yo, this might last a long time.
Bro.
Yeah.
I know. He needs to go to the doctor because them eyes gotta be shot.
They be fucking him up.
Gotta be.
And she says, like, I knew I was gonna die. Like, the way she had a hold of me, I knew I was gonna die.
Yeah.
And so she was like, yeah, no, I can't do this. If this is what I cannot do this.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, I don't blame you, because Anissa would have taken you off the set without thinking about it.
Anissa tried to do it with what's his name with the one eye? The alien dude at the end. Yeah, Alan.
And that happens later.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, so Amber's like, nah, I can't. And so he gets a call from his mom, and that's what he needs right now. He needs to talk to his mom. And Angstrom is like, hey, Mark, I have your family, so
Yeah.
how about you come see me?
Right.
And Anissa reports back to General Krieg like, hey, I couldn't convince him, or he wouldn't see reason. And Krieg was like, oh, so you mean you didn't convince him, like I
Right.
fucking told you to, like so it's your fault.
Right.
And I was like, well, no, but okay. Because she was like, he didn't listen to reason, he didn't listen to threats, like he just wasn't doing it. And so Alan shows up and he pretends to lose, and they bring him on the ship because now he's like, Omni-Man may be about this life, so let's try to get him too.
Yeah.
And so in the next episode, we see that Nolan is he's in tip-top shape. Like he's ready to perform. He's ready to go. And General Krieg is like, so glad to see that you are yourself again.
Yeah.
Because you need to be nice and at 100% whenever we put you down for treason. And so Mark gets home and Angstrom is there threatening to kill Debbie and Oliver.
He's
And
Spider-Man.
and he's just sending him to different worlds. Yeah, he sees
You
a lot of people.
you don't like that, Brandon? You like seeing Spider-Man?
Bro,
And Doc
I
Ock?
was just like, oh, what are we doing here? But
Bro,
I
yeah.
get why it's done, but it's
Yeah,
just
man.
stupid to me.
You got to think,
It's
man.
dumb.
This was a comic book, man. All these guys are inspired by all the greats, and Spider-Man was one of the greats.
That is my pet peeve, but I got over it.
Yeah, they send him to the Savage Lands.
Yeah.
They said they sent him everywhere. And so Mark is getting pissed off, and
That honestly got kind of annoying to me. Like him getting knocked through all the portals. That got a little annoying there for a minute.
yeah,
I was like, if he go through one more portal.
That's how he felt.
Yeah.
He was like, if I go through one more fucking portal. And then Debbie tries to attack Angstrom, and he
Ugh.
like the way he snapped her shit, I was like,
Yeah.
oh God, no, Debbie. Come, I just want to give you a hug, Debbie.
I
Just
thought
had
the
her
baby
hanging
was,
there.
and I thought the baby was gonna do something. Like I was expecting the baby to get like some type of power or something, but nah, it was just a baby.
I didn't
Yeah.
think so, just because of how long it took Mark. I know that the baby ages faster, but I don't know if like we haven't really seen that Viltrumite children are Viltrumites yet. So
Well,
I
only
didn't.
because what's his name was like, in all the universes I've been, I've never seen you before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I didn't assume that the baby was going to be involved, but and I mainly didn't assume the baby was going to be involved because I figured, this is a very violent show and there's a lot that's happening, but I'd be surprised if they let that baby get attacked.
Well, I thought he was gonna.
Or if
I
they-
thought he was gonna like have some laser eyes or something.
Or if they let that baby take any damage or anything. Like I'd be surprised. And so that's why I figured the baby won't be involved. But Mark is eventually like, oh, I've had enough of this shit.
Yeah.
And Angstrom figures, okay, Mark should be ready for me to fight him now. And Angstrom is talking that good shit. He's like, I'm so strong.
Right.
And I did all of this to weaken you. And Debbie definitely says to him, like, you are the villain here. Like, you are the worst person in this situation. Mark tells him, like, I know that every other version of me was terrible, but in this universe, you're the villain because I haven't done anything.
Right.
And he has to, like, crazy himself into believing that he is doing the right thing and that Mark is a terrible person. Because, again, my thought is, this is not the Mark you should be fighting.
Yeah.
And we all know that. And so eventually Mark kills him. And when Mark killed him, I was disappointed. Because I was like, they built Angstrom up to be a big deal. I thought he was going to truly be an issue. And he kind of wasn't.
He's a mental issue.
But he just, for half an episode, he was just getting on Mark's nerves. And then Mark killed him rather easily. And then like that. So he did all of that information gathering. He could build portals, and so we had the opportunity to see all kinds of different worlds. And like there was a lot that he was able to do, and they built him up to truly be a menace, just for him to get killed pretty effortlessly. Because this was a tired Mark. This was a Mark
Yeah.
who had, been jumping through portals for Lord knows how long.
And he just got done fighting old girl because he still got the
Yeah.
bubble eye.
Yeah, this is what I said. I
Yeah,
still messed up.
he just fought Anissa because
Yeah.
yeah, so he was not at 100%, and he was so I just that's the one thing in this season that I was like, why did we do that? Like that felt like a waste.
Yeah. Yeah. It did sort of seem like he murdered him without really any pushback, really. Other than the portal thing, really no
I think
pushback once you actually
for
got a
me,
hold
it
of him.
was more of he mentally beat Mark down, in my opinion. Like he made Mark snap. Like Mark was trying to not be his father the entire time, and
Yeah.
this villain was the one who did it for him. Like he mentally beat Mark.
I guess that's technically true, but that wasn't even his goal. Like, because that's what like the Joker with Batman, like that's what the Joker wants. The Joker's like, I want you to kill me because I want to demonstrate that there's nothing special about you. Like I win if you lose control. But that's not what Angstrom was trying to do. Angstrom was trying to kill him.
Yeah.
Angstrom wanted revenge against Mark and wanted Mark to, suffer and die at his own hand, just for Mark to slap him around and accidentally kill him because he wasn't as strong as he said he was.
It's true.
And
Yeah, that was a wild scene. All that
and
blood and everything. It was
and
crazy.
so I
Yeah.
I will agree with you that Mark is going to have to live with that.
Yeah.
And Angstrom did do that to him, but yeah, I the whole Angstrom thing, I was like, this I expected something better out of this.
When
Yeah.
the future Guardians came, and it was like, oh, we're from 20 years from now, like time isn't the same. I thought when he went back, I thought time was going to be completely different. The
No,
way they explained it.
I assumed they were sending him back to his own point.
See, I thought he was going back into like a different point in time, just by the way they explained it. But yeah, no, they just sent them back, and
But I guess the only way, or the only reason I thought they might do that would be if we were going to see Oliver as an adult. But
Mm.
like that's something I figured
well,
if
that's what I thought. Yeah,
like, if
that's
he
what I
ends up in
thought.
a future, then that might be involved. But I assume like no, we got to see what happened to Debbie.
Yeah, and
And
I didn't understand the whole mummy part.
oh, that shit was random. Uh,
Like I didn't
when
understand what they even like. I didn't
because
understand it at all.
those two women were random. I don't know who they were. And then they find Mum Ra, and he's like, I need a male host. And that's it.
Oh yeah, bro. I totally forgot about that. Jeez.
Because it didn't matter. Like,
Yeah, it didn't. I was like,
and
what are y'all talking about?
maybe it'll pay off later.
Yeah,
Maybe
that's what I
so.
assume is going to be something later.
But the fact that like that was I don't
It wasn't a
understand.
great intro to
It
something
was
later.
really random.
Yeah.
But
Felt like it was shoehorned in.
I'm
Yeah,
sure they'll call that back.
and then we
But
just get the montage of Mark thinking about his dad the whole entire time.
yeah, and we see that before that we saw that future Eve confesses to Mark like, "Hey, I have
I
loved you this
love
whole
you.
time. Tell me
Yeah.
something
Right.
so that I'm not just living in limbo."
That's messed
That
up of
was kind
Mark to
of
do.
that was a bitch move from Mark.
Yeah,
Like,
that really was.
like the fact that he didn't even tell the current Eve, like, oh, that's nothing. Yeah, I don't know, bro.
Yeah,
That was some weak shit. He's
I
terrible with women.
I assume we're gonna. I think we're gonna get called back to that in season 3. Like that's what I assume is
Yeah, I agree.
that's gonna get handled in season 3. But yeah. So he decided not to tell Eve anything, and Alan talks to Nolan and is like, "Hey, I got this coalition. We are, prepared to take on the Viltrumite Empire. And Nolan's like, I miss Debbie, God damn it. And I
Right.
don't know why.
Yeah.
But that's the show.
That was a weird ending to me, but
Yeah,
I mean,
it started being confirmed other seasons, so I was good with it.
I mean, I knew there'd be a
yeah,
new season, but
yeah, we knew, but it was just like that's how we, the way it ended season one, it was like, oh my god, okay, oh my god, we're just so, you know what I mean? Where this was sort of like, I miss Debbie. It's like, well, okay, all right, I
well, and
appreciate that. That is
this
dope.
this season put a lot of focus on the emotional place of all of the characters. Like this show dealt with emotion, or this season dealt with emotions. Like I feel like that was the primary focus of this season, was to explore and explain all of the emotions that everyone is experiencing and going through, because we see that there was some hard shit on everyone.
Yeah, that's true.
Like everybody went through something. This is also the episode where we see that Kate's alive. Duplicate. So cool. Again, I was like, whenever I saw that Rex lived and Shrinking Ray lived, I was like, yeah, Kate's not dead. There's no way.
Yeah,
Based on this, Kate's not dead.
invincible logic. That's a new thing. Invincible logic.
Yeah.
Everybody's done. But
Comic books.
yeah, no, it was solid season. Really solid season. Like you said, a lot of emotional stuff, a little more deeper, which I enjoyed. Got to dig into some characters, some side characters that we didn't necessarily know, think about. The villain, probably could have been a little better, but I did like Sterling K. Brown in general.
Yeah, but that just the way he wasn't fully utilized,
Yeah, he
or he
probably
was
should have been in a few more
underutilized. Like
episodes.
they did him like they do MCU villains.
Yeah, that's true. Felt like a filler monster of the week type of villain.
Yeah. But I will say, I think that in exploring a lot of the emotions of characters, I feel like this was a very real depiction of like how real people would be in these situations. Like I think they
Yeah,
did a very good job of capturing human emotion in this show.
I agree with that. Do y'all
But
think y'all's rating went up or down?
I think for me, mine stayed the
Same.
same.
same. Yeah, it's still an 8.
Yeah, I'd like to remember what my season one rating was, but
I don't
I'm
think we
still.
reviewed season one, did we?
We
I don't
did. We did.
I don't remember,
I want to
because
say
it
we did, but
feels like it came out so long ago.
yeah, I remember us talking about it, so maybe we didn't review it. But I'm still sticking with 7.5. Still really good grade. Um, but I am excited for the next seasons, and hopefully there's not a big delay in between.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah,
Although they did make sure we know how long it takes to animate it. So
they said this one is gonna be faster. It sounds like they worked on one, worked on two and three in that gap, or at least a little bit of three. Because what's his name, the writer, the creator of the show, basically said like season three is gonna come out, and I forgot what year he said, but it's not nearly as long. It's not 4 years or 3 years, whatever it was.
good.
So quicker
Okay.
turnaround.
Well, Jordan has already told y'all where you can let us know how you felt about Invincible season 2. Did you like it better or worse than season 1? Are you looking forward to season 3? Is there anything that we missed? Is there anything that you saw that you need us to know? And again, he's already told you where you can let us know all of those things.
Yeah.
True.
And with
True.
that being said, we're never duplicated.
Always appreciate it.
And forever melanated.